Hey, welcome back to Nick Vic Locks. Tonight we are starting a new video series. It's kind of in line with the, how-to videos that we've had for other pins, where we've covered the spools, serrated pins, T-pins, all that. But we're stepping up to a little more high security pins that you may encounter within locks as we progress in our skill. So it's going to be at least 3 parts, if you count this one as part 1, even though it's just kind of a brief overview, and we're just going to kind of talk about what the 3-part series will be. 2 or maybe 3 if you don't count this video. But I'm calling this Locksport versus Prohibition, or the pins that will make you question sobriety. There we go. Hey, so we're going to be talking about barrel pins and spool pins, how they interact with the locks, the different mods that you'll find, to the core plugs that go along with these pins, how to deal with them, how to pick them, how they're going to give you feedback and throw you off. So I'm going to start with barrel pins first, and then we'll move to gin pins after that. To help with this endeavor, I got a different core from another lock, went ahead and made it a cutaway as well, and modified it to help showcase the gin pins here, or not the gin pins, the barrel pins. So, and then to do that, I had to make some barrel pins. So I'm going to switch over to kind of draw up the barrel pin a little bit better, and then we can discuss the barrel pins a little bit more before we get into, more in-depth information regarding them. All right, see you in a second. Okay, so now on the whiteboard here, I have a crude drawing of a barrel pin. The barrel pins are, call it 3 parts if you want, but because it's always going to be a mirror image of each other whenever you have these stock pins for factory locks, mass production. But for the most part, all we're really worried about for any of these pins when we discuss them is midway and then above or below that. So, because that's mostly what's going to be interacting with the shear line. So 3 parts: body, waist. Let's do it like this. We'll go body, waist, and we'll call this the lip. Write that here. That works. So, and then, lip would be down here at the bottom. So, with these 3 parts here, our body is going to act like a standard pin. It's the fattest part of it, largest part, diameter. So it's just going to behave like a standard pin until we drop down to the waist. The waist is going to act very similar to a spool. Typically in the barrel pins, though, it's not as deep of a cut as you're going to find in a lot of spools, but it still can be. So kind of spool, and then we have our lip down here. It's going to act like the base of the spool. It can give you counter rotation if there's no core plug mods to interact with, or plug mods, core mods to interact with. Or if there are, this is what's really going to interact and cause you issues while you're picking. Now, if we look at it kind of like I mentioned a second ago, where I'm not so much concerned about the top and the bottom as I am just really from here down. So if I take away the top part, what I'm left with is a thin lip spool. Now, on the thin lip spools, our waist area here is typically going to be larger or taller, however you want to call it, compared to the barrel pins. But oversimplification is they're going to behave more or less the same. So the locks that you're going to find these thin lip spools in are typically going to be the goal P and the goal Z. And they're going to have overmilling and undercuts, which are going to give us a similar feedback with this lip down here as we'll get with the barrels on the common mods that you'll see on the cores for the locks that contain them. So, short story, if you can learn to pick barrels, you can pick thin lip spools. So get good at barrels, get better at picking the Z or the P. Somewhat vice versa too, but it's a little bit different because of the mods typically associated with the barrels. The P and Z don't necessarily fully correlate over to helping improve your barrel picking ability. So, but this has always helped me with thinking about it, that when I'm picking the barrel, I'm thinking more thin lip spool with what interactions I'm probably going to get and how I'm approaching it. So, but just wanted to throw that out there because if we look at it from here, it's similar type of deal. So now what does that mean with our mods or how the barrel pin is going to interact and deal with things? If that'll hold. There we go. So typically you're going to find barrel pins with one of two mods attached to them, or I guess associated with them within the locks. You're either going to have a sleeve or you're going to have core serrations. So sleeve, let's see here, draw a circle. Yeah, let me do it like this. Move this microphone some. There we go. Because that looks like garbage. Okay, so we're going to have, that's even worse. It's a little bit better. Okay, whatever. So I'm going to get rid of this. Now, typically this sleeve, it looks like it's broken, but it's not two pieces. It's one piece because it's also going to be drilled through for the pins as well. But so you're going to get somewhat of a spool interaction here as the body comes up and then we drop to the waist. But once this lip here catches between that plug and the sleeve, this area, it's going to get hung up and act similar to a gin or an undercut like you would see in the goal P and the goal Z. So then the challenge becomes we got to float pick somewhat to try to get it out of that sleeve and up there. Now, what modification are we going to see instead of a sleeve if they don't have a sleeve on the plug? That's going to give us a similar effect, and that's going to be the core serrations. So we'll go terrible circle, this out. Let's draw this exaggeratedly big. Like that. Close this out, and we'll go G squiggles. Squiggles. Okay, so we have the squiggles here for the core serrations. And what these are going to do is these core serrations or cuts into the core are what this lip is going to catch on and kind of bind the pin up. If you want to think of it as serrated pins, but reversed, very similar thing. So instead of the lip or the corners of the chamber that's cut at the shear line catching on serrations in the pin, the lip here on the pin is going to catch in the serrations in the core. So then it's just kind of a lot of easing off tension, trying to work it up and get it up above that shear line for these serrations. Now, for the sake of ease and machining and all that fun stuff, I'm not doing a sleeve. I'm doing core serrations. I didn't realize the mic was hanging out there. Be doing core serrations for when we go over the actual picking of it. And that's what I got here. So let's see if we can get this somewhat focused and visible. So you can see that I've gone through and I've made serrations into the core here. I don't know if it'll show up as well on the other side, but I tried to do a little bit of a, did I? No serrations on the other side, maybe a little bit where they just kind of come around, but they're light. I don't know how well it's showing up there. There we go. So you can see where they kind of come around a little bit, but they're not fully on the side with the cutout, mostly on this side. So when I pick it, I'll be tensioning counterclockwise just to make sure that that binds up into those core serrations. Good. And then we have our pins. Let's grab a pair of tweezers. Oh yeah, this is our new desk decoration for Halloween. We have a heart within a rib cage. You know, we got to stay on brand. So these are two of the barrels that I made. So we can get that to somewhat focus up. So I got this one. You can see our lips down there at the bottom and the top to really catch into that core. Those serrations. There we go. That looks better. With that fat middle there. And then the other one. Try to grab some. There we go. Get this one up here. You can see that one better. So, same thing, same difference. And you can tell one side or one end of it is a better representation of that thin lip. So it'll go into the lock like that with this more flat side down. And all of the barrels that I made will be like that, just to, one, help them catch better on those serrations, but also two, because that's what it's going to be most similar to the actual factory standard ones. So we got the core, we have our serrations within it, and hopefully everything will show up well on camera. And we can discuss more about actually how to pick them and implementing, ease of tension and somewhat floating to get those. But so the next video will be barrels, really be picking barrels. Then we'll do a video going over gins. I don't know if I'll make that one 2-part as well, if that'll be one video discussing how they work and operate and interact with the core and theory, and then a video on principle and practice or implementation of the information covered in the other one. Or I might do it all in one video. Who knows? So, but I'll figure that part out. Let's zoom back out here. Dog's coming up, wanting to play. So I think I'm going to jump on off here and go throw a Frisbee a little bit. But thanks you guys for watching. If nobody told you, you matter, you're important, and I'm glad you're here. Y'all have a good night.
Juno, you want to subscribe?